Hello and welcome from the First United Methodist Church in Phoenixville, Pennsylvania. The prophet Jeremiah says, not in just one spot, but in two, from prophet to priest, everyone deals falsely. They've treated the wound of my people carelessly, saying, "Peace, peace," when there is no peace. I was tempted to preach on that this week, which would have been a change from my planned schedule from the lectionary that I try to follow. There is no peace in this country. There is no peace in the world. And I have been fooling myself when I have assumed that it's out there because I'm in a relatively calm place. When I say calm, I mean there are no troops outside. When I say calm, I mean that I can drive around and walk around, and if there are immigration people looking at me, I'm not going to be a prime target. But that doesn't mean that there's really peace. And even when the streets are quiet, there are still people trembling. And even when we don't know the names of people who have been commandeered, or if we don't know personally people who have been killed, wounded, imprisoned, it doesn't mean that there is real peace for the people that do know them, whose lives are changed because theirs are changed. And it doesn't mean that our lives are not changed as well. You don't want to say peace, peace, when there is no peace. And you don't want to deny the trouble, the heartbreak, the injustice, the wrong. For to do that is simply to pour salt on the wound. But what does one do at a distance? Well, for one thing, you continue to say what is good and what is acceptable in the sight of the Lord. And I would say you dwell on what is good and what is acceptable. You don't point to the evil. You recognize its existence. You name it. But beyond that, you have to provide an alternative. You don't just say peace, peace, but you say that peace could be. You don't just say, well, why don't we all just get along? But you do say we could get along. You don't say God will bring it to a close. You say we will bring it to a close with God's help. And you don't just say that the wrath of God is waiting to fall on people. You say that there is mercy with the Lord. Words are not sufficient. for a situation of tremendous suffering and tremendous injustice. And certainly not when there are thousands of them going on daily on every scale. You have to say that there is a place for international law, as certainly as you say there's a place for personal morality. And you have to say that the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. And yet, it's also important not to let the terrible things that happen prevent you from living into what is normal and good and hopeful. Because if you do that, then too, you're giving in. There is a weird balance that needs to be struck. I've seen people this past week who have been utterly devastated, and rightly so, by the things that they've seen, the things that they've heard, things that they've read. But I've also seen people who have been comforted, and rightly so, by knowing that the Lord is in charge. Jesus told his disciples, "In this world you have trouble, but fear not. I've overcome the world." Like I say, I was tempted to preach on this passage rather than another, and I just did. On Sunday morning, and I hope you'll join us for it, I'm going to have a sermon. It's going to be on John chapter 1, verses 29 to 42. It's going to be about Jesus as the Lamb of God and his invitation for us to follow him. And I hope you are already following him. So come and join us in person. But this message, which is out there because I think it'll travel at least to a couple places across the country, to a couple people who won't be able to get here, for whom it might be a helpful message. I think it's important. And on Sunday, we're going to do things normally and in the regular course of things, because that's what we're called to do. The world, it can try to overcome things, but it doesn't in the long run. And the troubles that we see now won't be forever. Thanks be to God.